Hello, today I'm going to talk about research methods and concepts that are needed to explore the uh, issues in the society. So, first of all, we're going to talk about the methods that sociologists use in sociological researches. There are five of them, and first is survey. So survey involves collecting data from a large number or individuals using structured questions and interviews. So types will be questionnaires or interviews, but most of the time it is questionnaires because it is self-administrated and it is easier to collect data that way. The main advantage of survey will be the efficiency of collecting data from a large or diverse sample, and it can cover a wide range of topics too, so it is easy to analyze quantitatively. But the disadvantages, it may suffer from response bias because people can just write down not the truth. So um, people could be responding with not correct data. So it is hard to control that. Also, it is very limited in depth of the information that are gathered. Yes, and the second method is interviews, right? So we all know interviews. It involves one-to-one or one-to-group discussion with participants to gather qualitative data. So types would be structured or unstructured, which means in structured would be just standardized questions, and in unstructured it would be just open-ended questions that would be used. And the main advantage of interviews is that it allows in-depth exploration of the topics, right? And it can clarify responses and it can provide rich qualitative data. That is main advantages, but it has also disadvantages, which are it is very time consuming, and it is sometimes very expensive to gather uh, people, and it is also it has a potential to interviewers bias, right? For example, if I'm taking interview from someone, and it can be my bias by giving questions that I prepared from my point of view, right? And that are the disadvantages. So third method would be focus group. Yes, focus group is where you gather a small group of participants to discuss a specific topic in a guided group setting. And it facilitates group interaction. Yes, and it provides insights and how they feel each other and how they share opinions and attitudes, right? And that's the main advantage of it. The main disadvantage is that it is limited to generalizability, which means it cannot represent the whole general population, and it can be not accurate. But also it potential that the more dominant voices will influence the discussion. Yes, and that's the disadvantages. The fourth method is observation. Observation, it involves direct or participant observation, which means direct observation would be the researcher remains detached and it's not the part of the group that he's observing. But when it is participant observation, it is when researcher becomes the part of the group and he observes from inside of the group, right? So the main advantages of these method is that it provides the first-hand data. It minimizes the response bias because it is all observable, and it allows for the study of behavior in the context. But the main disadvantages, like interview, it is very time consuming, and it may also raise ethical concerns about the privacy. So yes, the fifth and last method is experiment, which involves manipulating data, independent variables, to study the effect on dependent variables, often controlled settings. So there are two types, which is laboratory experiments and field experiments. So the main advantages of this method is it allows for causal inference, and it is also very precise control over variables. So you will have the ability to establish cause and effect relationship. Yes, but it also has disadvantages, like also limited generalizability, and it cannot represent to general population, and it also has ethical constraints. Maybe some experiments is not ethically correct. So now we have to, that's it for methods. Now we have to distinguish difference between general population and sample population. So the general population refers to the entire group of individuals that sociologists are interested in studying, but the sample population will be the subset of this group, subset of general population that are carefully selected for research purposes, and they should ideally represent the broader population, the general population. All right, so there are different methods to sample from general population, and we're gonna talk about 5 of them. And first is random sampling. As it says, every member of the general population has an equal chance to be selected for the research, and it ensures the fairness. So random sampling is that stratified sampling would be dividing general population into subgroups and sampling from each subgroup. So it ensures the representation of various characteristics. So it will be like, for example, if you selected all the people in Kazakhstan, you would be dividing it from rich to poor, maybe from cultural differences, maybe from religion differences, something like that. The convenience sampling, the third one, is when selecting readily available, so it's convenient, right? But it's always like it's very quick, but it can lead to your bias because you're choosing convenient people that are around, and they cannot be representing the general population. And there is also snowball sampling, which means when researchers, they recruit participants that are recruiting others that they know. So it's very useful when you don't have a lot of participants, or it's very hard to do so. Also, there is last one, the purposive sampling, which is when researchers select specific participants based on the specific characteristics or expertise. So these are the types of sampling from general population. So now we have to move to critical concepts in sociological research, right? There are 3 concepts reliability, validity, and representativeness. So what each of them says, right? Reliability, it speaks to the consistency and stability of the research results over time and under different conditions. So high reliability indicates that it is very dependable and replicable findings, right? And validity, it pertains to how well a research instrument measures what it's intended to measure. And high validity ensures the accurate reflections of the concept under investigation, right? And the third one, the last one, is representativeness, which is very crucial for making research findings applicable to a larger population. In a representative sample, it mirrors the characteristics of the general population, right? So these are the tools and concepts that are foundations of sociological research. So it was very good to talk about this, and thank you for your attention.